You're not dealing with the thoughts that you have to deal with. You're not checking in and asking yourself how you feel or anything. You're just living life on autopilot.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Mark. Hey, Mark.
Hey, what's up? What is going on? Welcome to another episode of Hey Mark, the podcast where I, Mark, get to have open and authentic conversations about things like self-development and mental health and just kind of talk about the topics that don't get to come up on a daily basis. And the reason why we do that is because there's people out there suffering in silence and they might not know the words to say to spread their feelings or their messages. They might not know who to talk to or how to even start that conversation, right? So that's why we have these conversations, to bring it into a day-to-day basis, into daily conversation. And today, I'm joined by Mr. Bobby Basran.
How's it going, guys?
Author of the new book, Living With Yourself. It just came out this year, right?
Yeah, July 6th.
Beauty. So, Bobby, why don't you kind of just tell people like a little bit about who you are, like what you're all about, and I guess like where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me at Instagram at Bobby Basran, website bobbybasran.com, and I have a podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify called 4 Pillars. And I also run a blog every second week that you can find on my website as well.
Wicked, man. So the first thing I was going to ask you, well, I guess I'll make it into a question, yeah, because we were just talking about basically like someone asking you in your life, like, do you think it's too early to write a book? And I kind of have my own ideas on it, but I'd like to hear yours first.
Yeah, I don't think there's like a correct age where you can or you can't write a book. As long as you're going through life and you're learning your life experiences and you have something that you want to talk about and that you live through, I don't think there's really an age where you should or you shouldn't write a book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I wrote mine. I started writing when I was 19. I wasn't writing books at 19, but I was just jotting in my notes, journals, different ideas here and there that you learn. Because you can learn from anywhere. And as long as you have a pen, paper, your phone with you, just write down those ideas. And that's the same thing that I did. Like, I had these 6 ideas that helped me live a better quality life. And I just had 6 ideas, and slowly but surely it's chipped away. I wanted to talk about like the 2 meditations that I learned at the monastery. And one of my biggest things was finding pleasure in my simple moments. Like, if I was watching TV or doing this podcast, like my mind would be in like 3 different places, past, future, thinking about random things. So I really wanted to learn how to find pleasure in those moments. And then when I went to the monastery, I learned how to do that. And then, yeah, just kept writing different ideas, and just write how you feel and write the experiences that you go through. Like, you could have an idea, but you don't need to turn it into a book. It could be a small section of your book. It could be 2 sentences, but as long as you're writing and you're learning every day, eventually, if that's your goal, if you wanted to write a book, you obviously can.
Yeah, because like I was actually going to even like almost justify it to myself earlier when we were chatting, because I was like, yeah, I always feel like it's like it was too early for me to start talking about like mental health or anything in that field. But the reason I started doing it anyway is because I thought, like, you know, if I put out an episode, or say like if you're an author and you put out a book, and like say a year from now or 5 years from now or 10 years from now, like you might have like the opposite opinion of what you said before. Like, say like, for example, like if you tell someone like about how to get a better sleep, you might give them like ways of doing it, A, B, and C, but then 5 years later you're like, actually I don't think that anymore. I think it's actually X, Y, and Z. Like I think there's something like almost, it's literally almost like artistic, but it shows like kind of like an emotional maturity to be able to be like, hey, I used to think this, and bring it up again.
Yeah.
So like say like 15 years from now, if you have different ideas, like I think it's cool when people are able to be like, hey, in my first book I said this, this, and this, like actually contrary to that, I actually believe this now. And like I think it's kind of, it's almost like cool to watch people's, because I've seen people on podcasts do that.
Yeah.
Especially with like the last like year or two going on, what's going on in the world. Like there's been so many controversial topics, and then like 6 months later there's new information, right?
Yeah.
And I think it shows like an emotional maturity to be able to be like, hey dude, I was actually wrong about this before.
Yeah.
And now I think this. Like I think that's pretty cool. And if I were to see an author do that, that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah. The way I look at it is like, you're always growing. Like, you're not going to be the same person now than 5 years later, 10 years later. Like, when I came out with this book, those are the experiences and knowledge and wisdom that I had at that time. If I wrote this book now, I could probably write it even better. But that's just the art of creativity. You could come out with the podcast tomorrow, and like 2 weeks from then, you could do it in a better way. But you're not going to keep going back because you're never going to progress forward in life. Like, at that point in time, that's the best version of the book that I could write. And that's what worked for me to live with myself, find pleasure in my simple moments, be happy, and have faith in God. 10, 15 years down the road, I might add on to those ideas. But at that point in time, in that season, that's how I felt. And that's the wisdom and knowledge that I had at the time. So it's like, you could always do better. Like, even my podcast, like I was telling you before, like, it took me a year to make those 6 episodes. But after that year, like, I could have made them better. And that's the same thing. I come with the podcast tomorrow, and the next time I listen to it, like, I could have said that better. I could have said this part better. But it's like, you're never gonna fully love everything that you come out with. You have to accept that and be happy with what you come out with, and know that you're gonna grow, you're gonna move forward, and you are going to be better. So I think you just have to be okay with what you come out.
Yeah. Dude, that literally happens to me every single time I record, man.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'll record my episode, and then I'll do a little bit of editing, but I can usually pump them out within, like, 2-3 days. And even within that span, like, dude, this one, tomorrow morning, I'm going to be listening to the audio from this, and I'll be like, oh, I should have said this shit this way, or I should have said this differently, or I don't even know why I segued like that. A lot of times when I hear people talk, and this is probably something to do with being present, they'll like say something, and then while I'm listening to it, I think, oh, the next best question or thing to say would be this. Yeah. And then I took it completely different direction. Yeah. And I'm like, man, why wasn't my brain making that connection? Yeah. They gave it to me in a segue. Like,
yeah. It's just like, even now we'll be recording for like 5 minutes, and there's a few things that I already messed up. I'm thinking like, oh, you could have said it better. But it's like, I'm not going to go back in time. I just have to progress and be better next time. It's like, that's the same way you have to be with life. You just have to accept it and move on. Like, obviously, do your best. Like, I didn't write the book in 2 weeks. It took me quite a bit, like 3-4 years just to write it. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I had to come out with it at that time because it was ready. People are ready for that message, and I was ready for that message. I can't keep prolonging it. And it's like, oh, like, and some people do. It takes people like 10 years to make an album, 10 years to make a book, and that's their journey. Like, they want it to be perfect, and you should want your work to be great, to be perfect. But most times it's never going to be perfect because you're always getting better. You could always write a bit better a year from now, 2 years from now. You could always podcast better when you have more information that you learned from a year, 2 years, 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that all the time, man, too, as well. And that translates into like literally everything you do, not just like podcasting or anything, even artistic. Like I said, like my day job, I work in construction, and there's a lot of things where we're building it and it's meant to literally just be structural, and nobody will ever see it. It's hidden within walls. Yeah. But like, you still, like, for at least I know from myself and the people I work with, like, we still put in a shit ton of effort to try and make it like aesthetically pleasing, so that you can kind of look back and be like, that looks sick. Yeah. Those pipes all run perfectly level. Yeah. Like, everything looks mint. The wires all look clean and stapled to the side. Like, even though no one will ever see it, and it's serving its purpose whether it looks good or not, there's like that part of us where it's like, I know, like, I'll know what it's gonna look like, you know, like, no, it's like that. I can't remember who it was, that famous, it's like a Steve Jobs story about the fence painting. I was just gonna
bring it up because have you read his biography?
I haven't, no.
Yeah. It's probably one of my favorite books. It's like, the way I look at it is like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So it's like, when he was making the Mac laptops, underneath the keyboard, no one was ever going to see it. But the way he soldered it, like, he had to do it perfectly. And the guy asked him, he was like, why do you do that? No one's going to see it. He's like, I see it. Like, before it goes into production, I see it, and I want it to be that way. And it was just like that example with the fence. Like, him and his dad painted the front of the fence solid color. And the back of it, he's like, no one's going to see it. Let's just leave it. He's like, we'll see it. So we're still going to paint it. And that little example, he learned how to make the iPhone perfect. Like, he wanted it to be aesthetically pleasing as possible. And even the inside of it is that, because he thinks to himself, like, how you do one thing is how you do everything. Like, if I take a shortcut there, I'll take a shortcut somewhere else. And like, he didn't want to live life like that. And none of us do. Like, if you want the best for yourself, you don't want to take shortcuts in life. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. And it's crazy too. I was literally just thinking this as you said it, about like people seeing like the quality of your work. Like if you think about like, and this is just like my random thought right now, but if you think about like the last 2 years, like I think it's pretty fair to say that most people, even myself up until like the last like probably 2-3 years, will work hard if someone's watching. Like now that you're here, I'm gonna work fucking hard, right? But then like once you leave, I might pull out my phone, like chill out for a little bit, like slow down the pace. And it's crazy to think that, you know, in the last 2 years, I don't know if this is an actual outcome or it could be a potential outcome, but like think about like nobody's like in the office. Everyone's working from home for the most part, unless you're working in construction or a field like that. But so like no one really has eyes on them all the time. Yeah. So if it's like even like 30% of people that don't work hard when they're not being watched, that's like a third of the workforce now is just like chilling. Yeah, because people, they don't work as hard if no one's watching them. Yeah, and that's just how it is. But they like really determined people do, like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. Like even if no one's watching them, they work even harder because it doesn't matter who's watching them. They just want to compete against themselves and be better. Yeah. And some people, it seems so natural. Like for me, like I didn't realize literally until like the last like 2-3 years, so probably like 23, 24, I realized I was like, oh, like all the shit I complain about in my life would probably be better if I actually applied myself and not just when people were looking. Like it didn't click for me until like I was like 23, 24. But it sounds like for you, you kind of got some of it figured out at least at like 19. Like, do you think that people are like born with that, or is that like a nature versus nurture thing? Like, do you think it's taught? I think you could learn it. It's just habit based. Like if, like I said, how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you take shortcuts in your diet, in your relationship, when you're going after your purpose, that's all a habit. When adversity hits, you take a back road. You're not going through it. You're not going forward. And like, if you keep building that habit throughout your life, no matter what you do, whether you're meant to drink 8 cups of water and like you know you're meant to, but you only drink 2, like you're taking a shortcut, and that same shortcut's gonna apply to different areas of your life, whether you know it or not. Like subconsciously, you're gonna turn it into a habit. And I think if you live with mindfulness and awareness, and you just realize that how you do one thing is how you do everything, that I'm not gonna take shortcuts, I'm gonna do everything to the best of my ability, then you're not gonna have that problem, and you can learn that. I learned it through a book. I think it's the 4 Agreements. Yeah. And it says, always do your best. Yeah, I have it. I have the other 2 books as well. Yeah, they're really good books. A great author. And it's like it's like a little section. It's just said, always do your best. No matter what you're doing, whether you're podcasting, writing a book, don't compare yourself to other people. You're playing pickup basketball, whatever the case may be. You're trying out to make a college team, university team. Just do your best, because that's the only aspect that you can control. You can't control if the coach wants to cut you from the team or not, but you can control doing your absolute best. And same thing with my book. Right now I can't control if 5 people read it or 6 million people read it. All I could control at that time is doing my absolute best. And I did it. In that season, that's the best that I could deliver, and I did. So I can't worry about the outcome anymore. And it's an off different topic, but like a lot of people worry about things that are out of their control. Like when I'm writing this book, I could stay up every night and just think about worry about like, is people actually to read it? Do people really like it? But like that's out of my control. The only thing that I could control is writing the best possible book that I can write. I can't compare myself to different authors. I could just compare myself to myself. That's it. And just do my best. And then I shouldn't worry about the outcome. And a lot of people worry about things that are simply out of their control. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's definitely like one of the things, because I'm assuming like especially because of your journey, like you've probably looked a lot into like Buddhist philosophy and like probably even like Taoism and those types of things as well. Have you read like any Stoic philosophy? I read a few books on Ryan Holiday. Okay. And then on him or by him? By him. The stillness is a key, I believe. Yeah. And ego is the enemy. Yeah. And yeah, there's some good like all these principles, whether it's Buddhism, Sikh, different religions, they all kind of interrelate with each other, and like it's just about living a better quality life, to me, in my opinion. Yeah. when you say control, you can control specifically, though, it just makes me think, like, that's very stoic. Like, I heard it, I can't remember who said it the other day, but I've been saying it to people ever since then. I don't know, I can't even remember who I saw it. It was someone that was very famous. They said, write down like a list of everything right now that's bothering you or stressing you out or pissing you off, and then cross out all the shit that isn't within your control, and then start working on that list.
Yeah, and you could probably cut that list down 80-90%, because like what we worry about is really out of our control. Like, we can't control the weather, and like so many people complain about the traffic. Like, you can't control it. Like, it's literally out of your hands. Like, why worry about it? But that's what people worry about, like traffic, things are that out of their control, like people, different types of situations. Like, you can't control people. Like, and that's one, I had a podcast, it's like, hurt people. There's gonna be so many people that speak badly about you, spread rumors, they have a big ego, whatever the case may be, but you can't control that. You can't control how somebody treats you. So why are you letting it control you? And that's in my podcast I say, don't let something you can't control you. And it's a lot easier said than done, because it's hard. But if you just live your life in that way and keep reminding yourself, habit-based, that if I can't control it, I'm not gonna let it control me. Just ask yourself in the moment, why am I mad right now? Why am I angry? Why am I pissed off? Why am I frustrated? And it's like, live with that awareness and think, like you said, can I control this? Is your girlfriend being rude to you? Is there traffic? Is your flight delayed? What is it? And live with that awareness and ask yourself, is it in my control? And if it's not, well, then pluck out that thought and don't worry about it, because worrying is not going to do anything for it. It's not, only action will. Like, if you worry about something, if I worry about how many people are going to listen to my latest episode on my podcast, like, so that's not in my control. And even if I do worry about it for 2 hours, it's not going to help the situation. It's just going to make me not live with happiness.
I like, in your book, you said something to the effect of, like, next time you get stuck in traffic, like, think of it as an opportunity to practice mindfulness. I think you said something like that. And since I read that, I feel like every time because I get fucking road rage, man. Like,
a lot of us do.
Dude, it's pretty bad. Like, so that's what I've been telling myself recently. Every single time I found, because I'll never, well, I shouldn't say that. I haven't yet, like, been able to really catch myself before I think about something. Like, usually I'll have the thought at least first, where I'm like, fuck, this sucks. This is really pissing me off. Like, and I start thinking about shit like, oh, maybe I'll be late for this, or maybe whatever, or I'll kick myself in the ass and be like, oh, I should have been doing this morning. And then after about like 2 minutes of that, I'll be like, wait, this is my shot. This is my chance, like, to just be a little bit more patient. For me, I think of it as like patience practice. It's like, this is just my practice time, man. Like,
and that's perfect. Even if you notice it 2 minutes late, like, everyone has those thoughts, like, I'm pissed off right now, but that's the best part. You still live with mindfulness, and you realize, some people don't realize they're pissed off their entire day, week, month, year, and it just becomes a habit now. Anytime there's traffic, they're pissed off, they're in a bad mood. But like, it's great that you notice it after 2 minutes, maybe after few months.
An hour sometimes, I'll be honest, man.
But it's okay, as long as you realized it and you lived with awareness. And even if it took you an hour, like, if it didn't take you an hour, you would have lived the next 5-6 hours in a pissed off, angry, frustrated, unhappy mood. But even after an hour, you're mad for an hour. Sometimes you have to sit with those emotions, even if it's something as small as getting stuck in traffic. Sometimes you just have to sit with that emotion that, I'm mad right now, I'm going to be late to work, this and this might happen. But like I said, those things are out of your control. And even after an hour, once you realize that, like, hey, I didn't have to act like that, I didn't have to react like that, you still have the next 5-6 hours of your day to live in happiness. And those simple examples throughout your day, those are the things why people don't live with happiness enough. Like, they let other things that are out of their control them, and that dictates their mood and energy. Because it's like, I don't know, like, it's just simple for me. It's like, and it's not really simple, but like, if you just live with awareness and sit with yourself and ask yourself, you could ask yourself while you're driving, how am I feeling today? Right when you wake up, how am I feeling? It's like, wow, I was mad. I don't know why, but I'm mad. And then you could realize what your thought pattern is. What am I thinking about? Oh, I'm thinking about I have to come out with my podcast. It might not sound good. My guest might cancel on me. I don't know. But you're worrying about something that's out of your control. So just ask yourself again, how am I feeling today? Put yourself in the present moment and just simply ask yourself, how do I feel in this moment? Huh? If I just think about this moment, I'm happy. Now you just set the tone for your entire day. And if something does happen, like traffic, or your boss says something rude to you, or like your podcast guest cancels on you, like just ask yourself in those moments, how do you feel? Can I control it? If not, then well, I'm not going to give up my happiness, because like life's way too short to do that. You never know when your last day is on earth, and you simply don't. None of us do.
Yeah.
So that's why I try your best every day to just live with that happiness, be a great energy and a blessing in disguise to other people, because life is too short. And like people don't realize that until life shows them, and once life shows you, then it's too late.
Yeah. I don't know if you would really love Stoic philosophy, or you'd just be bored by it, man, because all your ideas are like so very, very similar to that. Like, there's this one part of this book, he's talking about like Marcus Aurelius's thoughts.
Okay.
And it's like meditations. It's basically journal entries from Marcus Aurelius, and he's basically talking about like when I woke up today. Like, I'm paraphrasing, obviously, I'm putting it into my own words, but he's saying like, I'm living on like basically borrowed time. Like I'm working with like, you know, the house's money basically. Like every night when you go to bed is a gamble. Like it's very common to pass out in your sleep, or to pass away in your sleep, right?
Yeah.
So when you wake up, it's like, holy shit, man, I did it. Like it's another opportunity. Like I get one more. It's like having one extra life in Super Smash Brothers. It's like, whoa, where'd this come from?
Yeah.
Like,
and take advantage of it. And that's the thing. Many people don't.
Yeah.
They live out the same routine day in and day out, but once you start living with that consciousness, like you just want to bring your best self to whatever room you're going to, whether you're hanging out with your girlfriend, your mom, dad, your business partner, your guest on your podcast. You want to be happy and bring your best self, because like I keep saying it, but life is too short. Like it's the same philosophy as Marcus was saying. It is too short. It's a gamble. You never know when it's going to end.
Yeah. And it's yeah, and well, and even being in like when you're doing like because you were saying like people are just like kind of stuck in their routines and just like living through life, right? Like even having a routine, like I, for the most part, like the really biggest deviations in my routine in the last like year and a half, 2 years, is having people over to come do like podcast episodes. Other than that, I do essentially do a lot of the same things every single day, but I think as well, like I think it's like when you're consciously picking up habits and behaviors, and like you're like choosing, yes, I want to do this like exercising, I want to do that every day. Reading, I want to do that daily.
Those are great habits, and like and you're doing it with consciousness. You know why you're doing it, and you know why you're doing it because you're conscious. You want to work out because whether you feel good, you look good, you're emotionally fit, physically fit, those are all conscious ideas of why you want to do it. But the way I'm coming from is like people pick up bad habits.
Yeah, like they don't partying with their buddies, or like going to meet up at Wings on Wednesday.
Like watching porn, reacting, not being in control of their level of thinking, not working out, not eating good. Those are all bad, unconscious habits they picked up because it's easy and comfortable. Like it's hard to go to the gym some days. Like you probably know that it's hard to eat healthy every single day. You're gonna slip, you're gonna fall, but like those are all conscious habits that you wanted to do. You're not really living life on autopilot. Like I think when people live life on autopilot, like they're not really in control of what they're doing. They're just running through the motions. They're just doing what's easy and comfortable. And even if you have a routine like what you're saying, like you're working out, you're reading, like that's not easy and comfortable. Like it's hard to sit down and read for 15 minutes. It's hard to go to the gym when you don't want to for an hour. It's hard to eat healthy on a day-to-day basis. So it's like you're not really living life on autopilot. I think you're living life being conscious and making good decisions for yourself. And that's the farthest thing from living life on autopilot.
Yeah, I always say, like, in my head, I always ask myself, like, am I intentionally doing this right now?
Yeah, that's a great way to do it. That's just showing you that level of consciousness, that mindfulness, that awareness, which is really good.
It does slip sometimes, though. But, like, I think like doing things that you suck at or doing things that are uncomfortable for sure, like kind of make you, like I've been thinking about that a lot recently because I'm not even going to the gym, man. Like I've got dumbbells right there. They go up to 90 pounds. I've got some bands. I got a bench. I got a pull-up bar. do yoga sometimes on like the TV. I'll throw a yoga class
That's
on.
more than enough.
Yeah. Or like I'll just run around the neighborhood, like
keep
go
it
for
fun.
jogs. But I always tell myself like especially in the last 2 years, because I love going to the gym. I miss the culture. I miss, you know, having all my friends there, like the Saturday morning crew or the Sunday morning crew or what have you. And for me now, like it is kind of a mental grind because I get bored or there's so many distractions around me here.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'll jump on really quick and I'll make a post or I'll go check Facebook because my computer's right there.
Yeah. It's right in front of you.
I've been telling myself like, you know, and especially reading, man, I grew up, like, I never read when I was a kid, dude. I'm so hyperactive that, like, even just sitting here right now, you can see I'm, like, moving around, bouncing my knee, like, and I'm all over the place. So just to sit down and be quiet for, like, 20 minutes is so difficult. But, like, the workouts that you don't want to do or the book when you want to fucking go watch porn or you want to do literally anything else. Like, my roommate here is my best buddy, and, like, sometimes I just want to chat with him. I don't want to fucking read.
Yeah.
But those are the times where it's, like, forces you to be present, because that's when I have the question in my head, like, am I actually, you know, turning and chatting with this guy right now intentionally? Like, do we have something that we're going to talk about that's going to help me?
Yeah.
Or is this just like a distraction for me that's easy?
Yeah.
Like, I need to be intentional with this because I lived my whole life on autopilot, like going for beers after work, and chilling out, you know?
Yeah, I get that. And it's fine to do those things. Like, I don't want to think like you could never go out, you have to meditate 8 hours. Yeah. Like, do those things, but ask yourself, is that what I want to do?
Well, and do it intentionally too, right? Because, like, I've been spending, well, it's been less time with my friends, but more time with my family this year. Yeah. And, like, leisure time. Like, it's not like, because for a while I was feeling guilty about not doing shit. Yeah. And so this year was, like, the first time in a while where, actually, I'd say, like, probably, to be honest, like, the last, like, 3 or 4 months was, like, the last, you know, most recent time where I feel okay being leisurely. Yeah. But I always ask myself, like, am I doing this intentionally? Yeah. And so, like, I'll set times with my parents or with my sisters to meet at my parents', and we'll be like, let's meet up on Saturday night for dinner. Yeah. And then, for me, like, I think, like, this is intentional, like, kind of physical rest time. Like, I'm just, like, communicating with the ones I love, and I don't need to think about other shit. Like, work will be done, like, every other time of the day. Yeah. You know, whether it's working out or reading, because that's work for me, man. Yeah. Or, you know, but, like, if I can set aside, like, this 2, 3, 4, even a day. Yeah. Like, on Halloween, I spent the whole day at my parents', basically. Yeah. So it's, like, I think that when you do those things intentionally, it makes them way better, because I think, like, I'm not thinking about replying to emails, I'm not thinking about, you know, doing work or anything like that. Like, no, this is my few hours or my whole day to just spend with my family. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, like, but it's intentional. That's the point I'm trying to get across.
No, I totally agree with you. There's a chapter in my book where I write finding pleasure in your simple moments, and it's exactly that. Like, that's a simple moment of you hanging out with your family. But a lot of people can't do that. They'll go, but they're on their phone. But their mind's in the past, future, worrying about, like, where I'm going to be, where I'm not. They're not really enjoying that moment. So it's like, when I was writing that chapter, I purposely spent out, like, an hour or two each day, and I would find pleasure in a simple moment. Like, even watching a movie. I couldn't even do that before. Like, I was watching a movie, and, like, I was just on my phone. I'm not even watching the movie. I'm just scrolling through it. I'm doing two things at once. I know. So it's like, if I want to write about it, I need to live by it. So I would practice every day. Like, if I'm going to coffee with my girlfriend, I'm not bringing my phone. I want to be in that moment. I want to find pleasure in it. And the way I find pleasure, it's like, feel your breath, be present. And what's great about that moment? Notice the little details. Like, notice your girlfriend's hair, what coffee she drinks, how she's smiling. Like, you're finding pleasure in that simple moment because you're present and you're having good quality thoughts about it. Like, even when I watch movies now, I try my best to, like, put my phone away. Or if I'm watching a show, like, I like watching, like, whatever my favorite show is at the time. Right now, it's New Girl. So it's like every night,
sick show, man.
I want to watch 2 episodes. It makes me happy. Yeah. But I want to watch it with intent. I want to be present. So I put my phone away, and it's like a superpower. Once you're present in that moment, you have good quality thoughts. You're so relaxed, and you enjoy it. You see the beauty behind that moment. It's like, I have 40 minutes right now to relax and be myself and be happy. Like, I want to enjoy this moment. It's great. I get to sit on this couch. I get to watch TV on this great big TV.
Mm-hmm.
I get to drink my matcha tea, and I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
But I would never notice those things if I wasn't in the present moment. If I was stuck in my routine, I'd just go on my phone, put the show on, and just like, 40 minutes is up. I didn't really enjoy that moment. The same thing with your family. You're probably present in it. That's why you enjoy that simple moment so much more, because you can see the beauty behind it. Like, I can hang out with my mom. I can hang out with my siblings, my dad. It's a great feeling having both parents here.
Mm-hmm.
And you would never notice that if you weren't in the present moment. So it all goes back to like, finding pleasure in that simple moment. You just have to be present in your day-to-day activities. Even if it's something as simple as reading. What I do now is like, when I read, there's probably days where I read, but you didn't learn anything. Like nothing really stuck out to you. Ideas don't come every single day. But like, what I try doing is just set a timer and be present. And like, realize how I'm grateful that I can read. I'm grateful that I can see the words on the pages. I'm grateful that I have time to relax and just read a book that I bought with my hard-earned money. Because a lot of people can't buy that book. A lot of people can't see the words on those pages. So I want to feel my breath and be grateful towards it by having good quality thoughts about what that moment is. And even it's something as simple as reading. Like if you just apply that principle to your life and find pleasure in all your simple moments, you're going to be happy at all times. There's going to be some blips where you react, you're mad, but majority of the time, if you are present and you try finding pleasure in those simple moments, you're going to be happy. Even if it's simple as doing this podcast or watching TV at nighttime, it's like, if you just find pleasure, you feel your breath, and you have good quality thoughts about that moment, you're going to be happy in it, no doubt.
Yeah, and it's so hard too, because like, I'd say like one of the biggest distraction times for me is literally when I edit like any of these podcasts, because for the most part, I'll literally listen to a full episode like a couple times, right? So say like one of the last ones I did was an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And so like that's pretty much me sitting in that chair over there, just re-listening and watching this.
Yeah.
And like, of course, like first few minutes, I have no problem being present, or I'll kind of laugh at a couple things like, oh, I shouldn't have worn that shirt or whatever it is, right? And then like sometimes like within like the first 5 minutes, I'm just sitting there scrolling, because like when I think about it this way, like I justify it to myself. And like, this is something I'm trying to catch myself on now, is like listening to conversations that I have in my head and realize like how many times we justify bullshit to ourselves. Yeah. But like I justify it to myself because I'm like, oh, I just have to listen to the podcast.
Yeah, I don't have to look at it.
So then I'll be scrolling through Instagram or doing something, and then it's been like 10 minutes. And I'm like, fuck, I forgot what I was at, like where I was at. Like, I don't even remember what part of this conversation I'm in. And I have to go back 10 minutes and it takes way longer. But now that I'm thinking about it, dude, like whether it's like working in construction or hanging out with people or editing anything, like the only time I can get into a flow state where I'm like forgetting about the passage of time, or I forgot I didn't eat, dude. I was like enjoying this so much. Like the only time I can get into a flow state is when I don't have my phone on me.
Because you have no distractions. Like you have to be in that moment.
Yeah.
And our biggest distraction, what I think it is, I don't know if it's true or not, is our phones.
Yeah.
Like I said, I could be sitting watching a TV. I don't even know how I'm on my phone. Like I was just watching TV and I'm already on Instagram. It's just a habit. Of course, a habit. It's like when you're driving to work, or you take an Uber to work. Like the first thing you do is just go on your phone. You could just sit in the Uber and like feel your breath, be present, but like,
or have a conversation with the person.
But we check our phones more than we check in with ourselves.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't do that, because you should check in with yourself. You should have that mental conversation with yourself, because like you want to be aware. You want to live your life with intent. And if you're checking your phone more than you're checking in with yourself, you're not going to live life in a happy state, because you're not checking in with yourself. You're not dealing with the thoughts that you have to deal with. You're not checking in and asking yourself how you feel or anything. You're just living life on autopilot.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I love like doing these episodes so much, because like, I don't have my phone on me. Like, so I don't have any distractions. So like, I'm pretty much forced to be present.
Yeah. And
then the other nice thing is I usually tell people, you're good about it, so I didn't even say anything. But sometimes I have to tell people, like, throw your fucking phone away, man. Like,
I'm in the habit just put mine on silent, and just because like I'm not talking to my phone, I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
I want to learn. I want to speak to you. I want to share my message with your audience, and I just want to have a great time with you. So I was like, I can't do that if I'm on my phone.
Yeah. Well, and people know they're being recorded, right? So they want to be able to be like current in the conversation. Otherwise, they look like idiots.
Yeah.
So that's the other nice thing. But Yeah, dude, like I have this one thing going right now where like I legitimately won't talk to people if they have a phone in their hand. Like I'll be hanging out with you right now, and like if you start looking at your phone halfway through a sentence, I stop talking, man.
Yeah.
I just won't do it. I like
That's
literally,
good, though.
dude, it's solid because some people will look at you and they'll be like, "Why'd you stop talking?" And then you're like, "Dude, you're not even like paying attention to me.
You're not even engaged."
And then they'll be like, "Oh, well, I was still listening." It's like, dude, 90% of communication is nonverbal. I'm a pretty sarcastic guy.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like, if I'm low energy, like, if it's at nighttime, that's typically when people hang out.
Yeah.
Like, my voice is a little bit more monotone. Like, you might not get my sarcasm if you're not looking at me. Or, like, dude, like you said, like, it's just about being present. Like, it's like, dude, hello, I'm a human being. Like, fucking look at me, dude. Like, come on.
Yeah. I don't really think you can multitask. Like, I know people try it. Like, oh, yeah, I'm listening, but I'm on my phone. It's like, you're not listening fully.
Yeah.
Like, you're not getting what I'm trying to say to you. You're not present. You're not in that conversation. You're not.
You've got 9 other ideas going on.
It's like, how can you be, like, even right now, like, I could be talking to you, but, like, if I was, like, if you asked me a question, I was like, oh yeah, what did you ask me? Like, I'm not present. I'm thinking about 9 other things. I'm thinking about what I have to do after this podcast, or, like, what happened in my past. But, like, if you're present in the moment, like, you're engaged with each other, you're talking, you're respecting one another. And yeah, I just think you can't really multitask.
Yeah.
If you have your phone in your hand and you're trying to listen or you're trying to talk to somebody, it's hard. Like, try it looking at on Instagram and having a conversation. You can't do it. It's too hard.
Yeah, unless I'm saying generic, like, already.
Unless
like,
you're on autopilot.
Yeah, auto-generated answers.
Like, oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Oh yeah, what did you say?
Yeah.
You're not really in that moment. You're not really speaking as yourself.
Yeah. Me and my buddy have a joke. Like, one of my buddies, Alex, he's been on the show before, but we have this joke. We were saying it, like, when we went camping this summer, where it's like the one buddy who just sits on the back in the crowd, and he's got, like, sunglasses on his side, and he's scrolling through his phone, and anything he says is just like, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So, like, all the time when we're talking to each other, we'll just reply back, like, damn, that's crazy. Yeah. Because it's, like, the random guy that just, like, in the group chat, damn, that's crazy. And you know he didn't read any of the shit before. Damn, that's crazy. Man. So, like, because I read this book and I was like, I really like this guy's thoughts. I like the way I like the way that you think. I like the way that you just kind of have this notion of meditation and Buddhism where it's kind of like understandable to the average person. Like, a lot of the times people have troubles like kind of relating to a lot of ancient philosophies because, like, either the wording's a little bit different than we use now or a lot different, or like kind of they think the lessons might not be relevant. But I like the way that you kind of put it because I have a little bit of a background with the philosophy. I really like the way you put it. I think that literally anyone, whether you know the philosophy or not, will enjoy it. But and I guess, well, you've even talked about it now, like how you said you started journaling and writing when you're like 19. But like, what kind of made you like get into this headspace? Because like I feel like I was a late bloomer in terms of like, well, I guess I'm still young. I'm still 26, but like, what kind of got you into were you journaling at 19 or writing for like this kind of stuff, like self-development? Were you already in that headspace?
Yeah, I just kind of wanted, like, I just didn't want to be average. I wanted to live a good quality life. And I didn't really see that growing up because, like, especially in the East Indian culture, like, you just grow up, you get a 9-to-5 cookie cutting job, and then you have kids. You buy a house, you get a car. And none of that's wrong if that's what you want.
I don't know if that's East Indian culture, man. I feel like
that's like our parents pushed that on us at a young age. Like, get a good job. Not a job that you like, but a job that looks good in other people's eyes. Yeah. So it's like...
good reputation, good money, right?
So it's like, that's what we're raised. That's our conditions. That's our environment. It's like... But once you start living with mindfulness, like, that's why it applies to so many areas of your life. It's not just about sit down, meditate, and be a monk. It's about living your life with awareness. Like, do you really want to be a teacher? Nothing's wrong with being a teacher, but do you want to do that? Or does your parents want that? Does your environment want that for you? Like, the story I have on my website, I talk about, it's like, I was going to school to become a teacher. And I did good. I had great grades. I did my practicum really well. But I still didn't get into the program. So I went to go meet my counselor, and I said, hey, like, I did everything good. Like, why didn't you accept me into the program? And he's like, well, we'll take a look. So they went through my whole pamphlet and my letter of recommendation. Like, it's like, why do you want to be a teacher? And that's the easiest part of this whole package was to write that letter. Like, it's 20 out of 20. Everyone's getting 20 out of 20.
Yeah.
They go to mine, I got like 7 out of 20. I failed it. And I was like, why'd you fail me on that? And it's like, you didn't even write why you want to be. I wrote about like different goals that I have in the future. She said, you didn't even write about why do you want to be a teacher? I was like, oh, okay. I failed. And I went back home, then I was like, I didn't even want to be a teacher. That's why I couldn't write about it, because I had no desire to be one. The only reason I wanted to was because my mom and dad wanted me to be a teacher. So it's like, I wasn't even living with intent. I was just running through the motions and doing what other people wanted me to do. And then I sat with myself at that age and it's like, what do I really like doing? What do I love? And it's like, I love reading. I love writing, reading, bettering myself, and learning that information and sharing it with other people. So that's when I started just bettering myself, reading, writing, reading different types of books, biographies, Buddhism, going to the local monastery, and just bettering myself through my routines. And it's like, eventually I got to the point where it's like, I can write a book. I can have my own podcast and blog because I've been doing this for 5-6 years now, and I help myself. That's the biggest thing. Like, I could never teach something that didn't work for me. Like, all these things help me. Like, how to find your purpose. Sit with yourself. I had a podcast episode. It's like, how do you find your purpose? Well, ask the one person that knows what you want out of this life, and that's you. Sit in a room 5-10 minutes a day and just ask yourself, what do I love doing? And continuously ask yourself, no distractions. What do I love doing? What can't I live without? What in 10 years, what do I want to be doing as a living? And it's like, if you want to be a teacher, if you want to be an accountant, great. There's nothing wrong with that. But like, where I see something bad in it is where you like, somebody is being a teacher and they don't want to be a teacher. They want to be a dog walker, but they've been raised and conditioned to be like, you need to do this job. It's a great job, but you don't really love it. Like, would you rather make 90,000 as a teacher or 60,000 as a dog walker or 50,000 as a dog walker? Like, money's not the objective. It's doing something you love and being happy doing it. Like, I make no money off this stuff. Podcasting, writing, but as of right now, I don't.
Oh, trust me, bro. I feel you.
But I love,
I feel you.
I love doing it, and I will go work at a different job for 40-50 hours a week just so I could keep doing this, because that's what I love doing. And I just know eventually, if I keep going and I keep working hard, it's going to happen. My dreams will come true. And until then, if I have to work 50, 60 hours, 40 hours at a job that I don't really like, but it pays the bills, I will. And that's just like, you want to do something you love, because like I said, like, all these philosophies are not just about meditating. It's about how you want to live your life. Like, life is way too short not to do something that you love every single day. And like, just ask yourself, sit like with these breath meditations, sit with yourself and ask yourself, what do I love doing? Why am I on this planet? Why did God put me on this planet? What value can I bring to other people? And if you keep asking yourself those questions, those captivating questions, you'll figure out why you're here. And if why you're here is to be a teacher, great. That's your purpose. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're an accountant, your job is to help people with numbers and build businesses for other people, help them with their tax purposes. Well, that's your purpose. There's nothing wrong with that, especially if you love doing it. And that's fine. But like, I didn't love being a teacher. I didn't even know why I wanted to be one. I failed that entire essay because I couldn't even answer that simple question, why do I want to be a teacher? And that's where I think some people, like in my culture, I know it's probably for everybody, but in the East Indian culture, it's like, people don't sit with themselves and ask what they want to do. They just listen to their parents and they just do what their parents tell them to do. And I don't know, I don't think that's okay, where you're forced to do something that you like or forced to do something that you don't like.
Yeah. Well, I know, like, I'm sure it is different across all cultures. I know, like, white people, they just basically do what their friends do. It doesn't even fucking matter what their parents say.
They just
they just do whatever their friends do.
Yeah.
Or whatever they get brownie points on Instagram for. They'll do that too.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. But it's crazy to think, like, so what did your parents think? Like, did you finish college, or did you finish like the program you were doing, like, to become a teacher? What did they think about that?
Yeah, they weren't too happy.
Right.
Yeah, I told them, like, because they don't really understand what I'm trying to do. They didn't grow up like that, so I have to understand them as well. Like, they grew up with the mind frames like, come here, come to Canada, get a good job, don't step on anybody's toes, raise your kids, and that's it. Like, they didn't have the privilege as we do to do something that we love. And I have to understand them. So obviously they're going to be a bit mad at me where it's like, I'm giving away this great job to write and not make any money for the next 5-10 years, maybe not make any money with my podcast. But I was like, it's something that I love doing, and it's something that I couldn't imagine my life without. And that's the biggest thing. Like, I couldn't imagine my life where I didn't read, I didn't write, I didn't better myself and share that information with people. And when I told them at first, they're mad. Like, you're giving up your job for what? Like, you don't even know. And I didn't at that time. I didn't know what I wanted to do. So for a year, I just sat with myself, and every day I just asked, like, what do I love doing? Why am I here? And the same questions day in and day out. Eventually it came to me like, I can't imagine my life without reading. That's how much I love it. I love writing, and I love bettering myself and sharing that information. So 4 or 5 years later, I have my book, I have my podcast, I have my blog. Not saying I'm doing everything right, but I'm on the right path. And yeah, they don't see it as great right now or successful because I'm not making money, but eventually I will. But I have to go with the process. Like, if I came out with that book July 6th and July 10th I had 10 million sales, I went through no process. It was easy. I want to go through a process. The best part of going after your purpose is enjoying the journey, enjoying the hard times, because that adversity, that grit, those hard times make you. Anytime I go through bad experiences, I just think to myself, I love it because I have something to talk about. My journey's that much better now. If I got 5 likes on my podcast post, I love it. At first I didn't. I was like, why aren't people listening? It's a great podcast. I think it's great. Mm-hmm. But that's my journey. I took a screenshot. I got 5 likes, and I look at it every day. I want it. I want that feeling that I had 5 likes. That's my journey, that no one's listening right now. But eventually they will. And I love it. When my book first came out, I sold probably like 13 copies. And in the moment, I was mad. Like, I think it's a really great book. It should sell, but no one knows me. Mm-hmm. Why would they buy my book right now? No one knows me. And I sat with myself and was like, I love that feeling now. Like, I want to only sell 13 copies in the first month because my story is that much more better. When it makes it, when it's a New York Times bestseller, when it sells 1 million, I'll look back to that first day. It sold 13 copies. And that's what made me. That's what pushed me to keep going. Yeah. And you don't want your journey to be easy, because if it was, you have nothing to talk about. What would I talk about if I came out with my book and like 2 weeks later it's like, oh, it sold 10 million copies? Like, I didn't really learn anything in those 2 weeks. I went through no adversity. So yeah, you kind of want to accept those hard times because it's going to make you who you are, and you're going to have a story to talk about. And that's why we love all these people, those famous people. They have a story. Kevin Hart, he's a great comedian. Why we love him? He has a sick story growing up in Philadelphia. He was broke. Mm-hmm. Eminem, why people relate to him? He was from Detroit. No money, one parent, single family income. And he's one of the most influential rappers of all time. Why do we resonate with him? Because he went through a hard time and he made it. We think we can make it too when we see somebody like that in that area growing up in those conditions, environments. It's like us. Like, he's going through a hard time. We can make it. He looks human to us. Mm-hmm. Like, those successful people that you see on stage, they don't look human to you. They look unhuman to you. But like, if you look at their story, if you read their biographies, you feel that human connection. They're like me. They're going through a hard time. And no one's stories are the same, but like, you just think like, they went through a struggle, I'm going through a struggle. Whatever it is, my struggle, I sold 13 copies of my book. Somebody might have a different one. You might have a different one, but we could all relate to each other in that way when you look at someone's upbringing and their environments and their conditions.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, you're speaking to me, man, because I know, like, dude, like, even to this day, I don't even, I really don't even I try and really never just check, like, my subscribers that I have on YouTube, or how many views they get, or how many downloads my podcast episodes get, because, dude, for a little bit it was disheartening, and then for a while I just kind of realized, well, it's like, it doesn't fucking matter, no one's listening. I'm just going to say whatever I want then. Yeah. And that kind of makes it more fun, like, yeah. Like, there's no rules to this. I can swear. I can say whatever I want. I can talk about how I'm a stoner. I can say literally anything. And it's so sick. Like, I'm not making money off this. I'm purely talking to people because for me, the way you speak about reading is the way I think about speaking with people. Like, I fucking just love talking to people. I like thinking about new ideas or bouncing my ideas off other people. And, like, I just kind of really love that, man, because I remember I have a a similar experience of a screenshot on my phone of like how many subscribers I had when I first started, because like, especially, I don't know, kind of like, I don't know how it was for you, because I know like when I made my very first, before I did a podcast, I was like kind of doing YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And I remember when I dropped my very first YouTube video,
yeah.
and like I kind of posted about it online,
yeah.
like on Facebook or whatever, it was like, you know, got quite a few likes. Like I was kind of like, whoa, okay, I can do this. Like, you know, it was like really encouraging. I was like, fuck yeah, like this is sick. I'm gonna make more videos. And then I made the next one. It was like decent amount of likes.
Yeah.
And I made the next one. It was like 4 likes. And I made the next one. It's like just my mom likes it. It is like, it's like, fuck, dude. Like sometimes it is just kind of hype in the beginning because people are like, oh, that's cool.
They want to support it from the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. But then it's like you said, like, I don't know if we were recording or not earlier when you were saying like, you know, not everybody reads, or like not all my friends are going to get this. Like, yeah. Not all my friends listen to podcasts. In fact, it's like only a select few of my friends that listen to podcasts, you know? Yeah. Most of them are doing other shit or listening to other media or listening to music. So it's like, you know, most of my, actually pretty much only a couple of my friends actually that I know of follow my podcast, that will have conversations where they're like, yo, I really dug this week's episode. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, whoa, you actually follow this shit? And they're like, hell yeah, dude. Yeah. And I'm like, whoa, like that's sick. Like,
it's the most surprising person. Like you would never think they follow what they do.
Yeah. Or you see someone randomly that you haven't seen in like a year or two, and they're like, dude, I saw you doing a podcast. I'm like, you noticed me? Like, yeah. I didn't even think you remembered who I was. Like, that's so sick. I've even met like actually a couple people through having a podcast now, and it's actually really dope. Like, actually, we wouldn't even be sitting here right now.
Yeah, like we met through this as well.
Yeah. But like, yeah, it's so crazy, man. And I said that on one of my other buddies' podcasts. I was saying that to him, like, after his first year of podcasting, we were talking about, like, lessons we learned. Mm-hmm. And I was like, dude, like, one of the craziest things is maybe you have the same thing when you write a book, like 90% or even more, I'd say, like, 95% of the people that, like, actually, you know, follow me on Instagram because of my podcast, or people that I'd say, like, I interact with about my podcast, like 95% of them, I've never met them in my life. Like, it's random fucking people, and they're your biggest supporters. Yeah. They support you more than, like, half the people you grew up with. Yeah. You're like, this is, like, you know, some of my best friends, and it's like, dude, this random guy shares my shit every single time I post. He likes all your posts,
Yeah. That's crazy. That's the way I look at it now. It's like, yeah, you have your friends, your family. They're to like your stuff regardless. Like, whether you...
So, if you're lucky.
If you're lucky,
If you're lucky, dude.
But, like, it's just cool to me because, like, that's not your audience. You need to go find your audience. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, I have 4 or 5 listeners, but, like, that's 4 or 5 listeners that I didn't have before. Yeah. And they're not even, like, people that I know. It's just random people that are listening and messaging me, like, oh, I listened to your episode. I was like, you follow me? Like, you actually liked it? And it's like, yeah, it's great. And it's like, well, I need to find more people like that. You just need to find your audience. And that's the biggest part. Like, my family probably doesn't like what I talk about. And that's okay. Everyone's different. You might not like what I talk about on my podcast.
No, I do, man. I only listened to the one you sent me in the very beginning, and I was like, this is dope.
Like, everyone's different. You just have to find your audience. And that's the best thing. It's like, you go out there, you don't change who you are. You don't, like, if I came out with my podcast and I had 10 listeners, if I really cared, I would just change it, because it's like, oh, like, only 10 people care. I want to do something that is trending and more people are speaking about, but it's like, I can't. Like, this is what I love doing. This is what I want to speak about. You're not being arrogant, but it's like, you just want to find your audience. Like, not that many people like meditating, are dealing with their thoughts, or finding pleasure in their simple moments. I'm not trying to reach those people. If those 10 people are here, I'm not trying to reach them. I'm trying to reach the 10,000 people over here that like meditating and that like plucking their thoughts and finding pleasure in those simple moments. And it's like, I just have to keep going. They're there. I'm going to get there eventually. I just can't give up my dreams and change who I am. I just have to keep going. Keep pushing past that adversity. That's the way I see it.
Dude, yeah, I see it the exact same way. Like, I didn't always put, like, kind of the numbers to scale when you say, like, you're... Because now that I think about it, like, there is a lot of people that are super into, like, yoga or meditation or anything like that. And if a lot of those genres kind of cross over, and I always think that as well about my episodes sometimes, where I'm like, you know, I don't know any of my friends who would be listening to a podcast about like an episode about journaling, but I fucking would.
Yeah.
And I like that shit. And it's something that impacted my life a lot.
Yeah.
And I had one of my buddies the other day reach out to me where I didn't really expect it from this guy or even this question from this guy because I didn't think he'd ask me for advice. But he asked me, he's like, what are some of the benefits that you've found like with journaling in terms of your anxiety?
Yeah.
And like I haven't really talked to this guy about anxiety before. And like I said, I didn't think he'd ask me for advice. In my eyes, he's way more successful than me.
Yeah.
So when he asked me that, I was like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. Like this guy, like he's been on my show. I'm not going to say who it is because of the subject matter, but
yeah,
like, I had him on because I kind of looked up to him. Like he was like a mentor to me.
Yeah.
So it was like, just to have him ask me about that, it's kind of like you said, like, whoa, you listen to me?
Yeah.
Like that's so crazy. Like I followed you, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it's so crazy, man. But like, how many brothers do you have? Just the one or
two?
Two.
Yeah.
And is the other one kind of an entrepreneur as well? Like I feel like
he does boxing. So not too much entrepreneur, but like he wants to do something that he loves doing. So he does boxing.
So all three of you are kind of like, I wouldn't say entrepreneurs then, but I guess like kind of breaking the cookie cutter mold. Like is that like a spirit that's encouraged in your household, or did you all just band together and you're like, yo, fuck this?
Yeah, I think it happened with my older brother first when he started his fashion company. Like he was doing the same thing. He graduated university with his arts degree. But the same thing, like he only got it because that's what we had to do. Like our parents said, go to school, get a degree, and then do what you want after that, get married and have your kids. In their eyes, that's what a successful life is. And nothing against them. That is a great life. But if you have something that's within you and you want to do more, then you shouldn't tuck that away. You should expand on it. Like, what do you actually want to do? And he loved fashion ever since he was a little kid. And that's exactly what he wanted to do. So he started his own path, and like, even with him, like the first 5 years of business, it was not doing too well. Like it was his process, it was his journey, and now it's picking up a bit where like other famous people are wearing his clothes. People are paying good money to buy what he's selling.
It's stupid impressive, man.
Yeah, and it's
you can plug it if you want. I just didn't want to say anything.
Oh no, it's okay. Yeah, he owns 7 Basran brand. So so at the start of it, he just had to go through like that process. We're saying it's like if he just came out with the fashion company and the next day like a big store bought it for $10 million, like he had no journey, no process. But like he's going through his own journey, his struggle and process, and now he's kind of on the other side of success on a smaller scale right now. But it's still a great feeling to see famous celebrities wear his clothes when he was just
that's fucking nuts.
Yeah,
just to get one, dude.
Yeah, just to get one. It's like he just started in our spare bedroom selling hats. And now, like, he's making collections 2-3 times a year, and other people are wearing it, wanting it, and liking it. It's just that great feeling. It's like, you just have to put in your hours. It's like that famous saying, you have to put your 10,000 hours in. And then it's just great because, like, once you do, it's like, you have something to talk about. You have a story, and you build character. It's the same as going to the gym. Like, if you went to the gym for 2 weeks, and you had a six-pack and big arms and a massive chest, like, you just went for 2 weeks. It takes years to get a great body. Dieting, mental health, focusing, drinking water. It doesn't happen overnight. And that's the same thing with your business and your purpose. Like you shouldn't want it to happen overnight. Like I didn't want to sell my books or have my podcast famous or whatever, not famous, like 10,000 people listening to, whatever the case may be. I don't want that in the first 2 months because you have no story behind it. I didn't build any character. I didn't go through any adversity. And that's the same principle like getting a good body too, or even like a relationship with yourself or your partner. It's not going to happen overnight. Like if you're in a relationship with somebody, it's not great all the time. You have to put in work and make it great all the time. It's not going to like overnight like you have an amazing relationship. You have to speak to each other, you have to communicate, you have to listen, and you have to do things for each other. You have to sacrifice. And that's what makes a great relationship. But it doesn't happen in one day. It takes time and effort, and that's with anything in life. Whether you're getting a great body, mental health, if you want a great relationship with yourself, your partner, or if you want your dreams to come true, it's going to take time, commitment, and you have to push past adversity.
Yeah, and it takes time to achieve. And then when you think about all those things as well, like, you know, selling 10 million copies or having a successful relationship or even having like a business, regardless of what it is, like if it's fashion or whatever.
Yeah.
But like all of those things take, or typically take like years and years and years to build.
Yeah.
But then it also takes like just as much work most of the time to maintain, like just to achieve that. Like, because I'm sure that just this one book, if it was selling like, you know, millions and millions of copies, you'd probably live off that, but you'd probably be bored.
Yeah.
Like, there's the next shit that you're gonna do.
Yeah.
The next thing. Like,
totally.
I don't know if you have the next thing already locked and loaded, but like, I guess, do you?
Right now, I just want to focus more on like getting my book out there in different stores, different avenues, and just focusing on my podcast and blog. Like, not trying to do too many things at once, but like just really dialing in and making these podcast episodes. I guess one thing that I want to do in the New Year's is what I'm doing right now, but when I launch this episode, it'll probably be the New Year, is I want to start interviewing people more and being on people's shows more, so I can speak my message and...
Hold up. Oh, we're good. We're all good. We're still going.
Yeah, so speak my message more and just dial in and... Yeah, I kind of forgot my train of thought.
Sorry, you were just saying like, sorry, I got a weird like low battery notification, so that just distracted us, but I'll probably edit this out, but I might leave it in because I kind of find these things funny, but
yeah.
It's kind of the quirky stuff I like about podcasts. But you were saying like in the next upcoming New Year, like one of your goals is to kind of like be more on other people's podcasts and have other people maybe on yours.
Yeah, spread my message more. That's because like that's all I want to do is just spread my message and help as many people as possible. And if I have to go on like different people's shows or interview people, like that's what I love doing. And so that's probably one of my goals for the New Year's, to do that more.
Yeah. Well, and I think like the more you have, I think that definitely having people on your podcast is beneficial, because then you get kind of like that cross. Well, actually, both are beneficial because you get that cross audience.
Yeah.
I've gained a couple followers from like being on a couple different people's podcasts, because maybe like for example, I'm on like my buddy Zach's podcast, Plaid Jacket Philosophy.
Yeah.
So I met him because we both work in construction. He's an electrician. We're carpenters, so we've like worked on similar jobs before. Yeah. And I just realized I got pain on my hand today. But when I met him, like we were kind of talking about how we were both like, I had just started my podcast and he was just starting his. Yeah. And so like we've done a couple of like crossover episodes where we go on each other's, and actually they're all original episodes. We don't do crossover episodes. We record like each on each episode.
Oh, okay.
But like I'll have gained listeners from like going on his podcast because they're like trades guys and they want to hear about like his stuff's all about like blue collar thoughts and stuff like that. He's a Plaid Jacket Philosophy.
Yeah. It's a clever name.
Yeah, it is really dope, man. Yeah. But like there'll be some of his listeners or some of his friends or family members or whatever that kind of like more vibe a lot with like the mental health side of it, because we talk about the struggles of being like an apprentice or whatever it is. And then there's guys that listen to mine because obviously everyone kind of deals with mental health. Yeah. So like there's guys that work in the trades and they listen to probably his podcast more than they listen to mine, and they're my buddies. Like just because he's really well spoken and he's well read, but he's got the blue collar kind of lingo to it. So it's a dope podcast. Yeah. But that'll benefit you for sure in terms of like getting a little bit more listenership, but also I feel like getting new ideas as well, or kind of validating or discrediting some of the ideas you have now. Like I know like connecting with a lot of people in the world of mental health and self-development recently, like even connecting with you, I get so many different ideas or opinions, because I feel like especially in the world of mental health, because I don't work in the realm of mental health, I work in construction, so I don't make my money here. I don't really speak like a lot of other people in the world of mental health. I don't really like, so I feel like I have a different ideology sometimes. Like both of my sisters are like have studied psychology, and we speak differently. So like, don't come to me for fucking medical advice because they've studied it. Yeah. And they have different ideas than I do. Yeah. But like you said in the beginning, like I only speak to my experience. Yeah. Right? So I can only talk about the things that help me or things that I've experienced. But I just think that when you connect with more and more people, especially like yourself as well, like you got a book and you're a like professional dude, you're like well spoken, you'll connect with a lot of people that like kind of either broaden your opinions on things or maybe you'll say something that changes my mind completely, and I'm like, I'm getting rid of that fucking idea. Like, Bobby's idea is way better than mine. I'm fucking latching onto that from now on. That seems more true. Like, so I feel like when you collaborate more with people, like, it makes it more fun too.
Yeah.
Like, it becomes your new community.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. That's something that I really want to do. Is just like, and you made a great point. It's like, you learn. Like, I learned from you today. You probably learned from me, whether you did or not. But like, I did learn from you, and I like it.
100%.
I'm gonna go home and like, I learned a new idea. I'm gonna bring it into my life and see how it's gonna benefit me. And if you're doing that like 3 times a week, and you're going on people's podcasts and you're learning, it's like, it's just a different avenue. It's like reading a book, listening to an audiobook, listening to a podcast or interviewing. You're gonna learn. And if you're in this realm, if you're in this workplace of where you want to learn and better yourself and share that information, it's a great thing to do interviews like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and even just chilling out with someone, because like if you and I were to chill out for like 3-4 hours or whatever, right? Like, I think the only way we can get an experience like this is podcasting. I think if you were to just chill out and we go for a drive, or we go and do literally anything, like no matter what you do, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's always other things that kind of interrupt the conversation. Or I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, there was this one time I'm listening, like I was bringing up earlier, like Theo Vaughn is like this comedian I listen to all the time. He's got a podcast. He's a stand-up comedian. Yeah. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast a couple times, I think, or maybe just once. Yeah. But it was like one of those long couple-hour podcasts, and he says to Joe Rogan at the time, like, I think like probably like 3/4 of the way through, he's like, "This is the longest conversation I think I've ever had with someone." Yeah. Like straight, like even like sitting down here, like, it forces like conversations where I've had with like, because I've had quite a few of my buddies on my show. Yeah. Right, and it's like, dude, this is the first time in a long time that we've sat down, no phones, and just chatted. Yeah. Like, no fucking TV on, nothing in front of us. There's no other people around adding like third party ideas. Like, it's literally just connect with one person and just like talk to them for a fucking hour. Or I've had episodes that are like 2 hours, and it's like, dude, I know you better more than like I know half the fucking people that I see on a regular basis. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
or you got to know them better in that 2 hours than like the 5 years that you know them. Because like those 5 years.
No, I'm saying you right now. Like, in this last like hour, like, I know you more than some of the people that I see. Like, you know, like people in my building. Yeah. Like, because I just walk past. I've lived here for a year, and literally, like, I think I've had like 7 conversations with people. Yeah. Mind you, it's like the whole fucking pandemic. People aren't like talking to people, right? True. But it's, I think even with no pandemic involved, like, you know, I've talked with you more in the last hour than I've talked to fucking literally all my neighbors combined. Yeah. And we only got to this stage by doing a podcast together. And it's a great thing because, you, like I said, you learn and you get to know the person that you're interviewing, which is a great feeling. Yeah. It's nuts, man. It's so crazy, too. Like, I know, like, it must be even, like, kind of, I don't know, maybe you can speak to your experience, but I know, like, in Vancouver here, like, dude, you meet so many goddamn people, like, literally all the fucking time. Vancouver, I feel like, is a hot spot, especially being in Richmond here. Yeah. Specifically, because the airport's here. Yeah, I guess so. Like, really there's people coming in and out of the city all the fucking time. It's like, you meet so many different people, and I feel like I really only know maybe, like, 2, and you would be the third. 3 people, I think, or 4 maybe, in real life, people that I know in person, real life, that do podcasts. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, out of all, I went to 2 different high schools. I played on many sports teams growing up. Like, I've worked in all the cities around Vancouver. Yeah. I don't really meet people that do things like this. Like, what's your experience like? Like, because where you're from in Kamloops, like, it's like, for anyone, anyone that's not from BC will be lost there. But anyone that's in BC knows, like, it's a small town compared to Vancouver. It's grown a lot, actually. When I was there this year, I was like, holy shit, this place is huge now. Yeah, like, you got a lot bigger over the years. But what I guess, like, do you know any other people that do, like, similar things to you from in your area, or? Yeah, not really. You're the guy, man. There's a few. I think there's a few that do it, but I just haven't seen their channel pop up yet. But yeah, it's kind of more of a small town, more retirement town. Yeah. Yeah. So what's it like, kind of like? Because for me, sometimes, like, I feel like imagine like growing up in like LA and dreaming of being like an actor, or moving to LA and being like, I'm gonna be an actor. Like, You're one of like hundreds of thousands, right? Like millions, literally.
Oh yeah.
But like I feel like when you write a book or when you do a podcast, like I feel like, I guess you don't really need the people like in your geographical area to get behind you, but sometimes I feel like it's like I really am, like I feel like this, so you must as well sometimes, like, or maybe you haven't thought of it this way, but sometimes I think like, am I the only guy at this age group in this city that cares about stuff like this? Like,
yeah, I get those thoughts crossing my mind too, but like, I don't know, I'm more of the type where I just focus on myself and see what I have to do, and if I meet those people, like I'll share my experiences and it'll be great. But I think that's where something that I have to work on is going out and networking. This is my first interview. Like I've never done
fuck
this.
Yeah, dude.
I never
that makes me so fired
like
up.
I've never done this before. But I just started.
Dude, you're a natural, man.
I just started like releasing my book. For the past 4 years I barely posted on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Like I was just busy working. I'm more of the type where work hard in silence. Like I don't really I never posted that I'm writing a book or I'm starting a podcast. Like once it was done, then I was like, I have to do social media because I want to spread myself to all platforms. So I was like, I never really liked social media in the first place because a lot of people just go on there for the wrong reasons. But like, I have to use it as a business tool.
Well, I know, I feel you.
I just started going on it. Like, I think my first book or first post for the past 4 years was like this year. Mm-hmm. Like I only have 20 posts, I think. So it's like I had to start doing it like just right now. So it's like one of the things that I want to work on is going out and doing these interviews and spreading my message, posting more. Like I was so nervous before posting my first book, like on it, like my first post about my book, because like you don't know how people are gonna react. Like no one even seen me in like 4 years. So like I haven't posted, so it's like, but I did get that initial hype where it's like your family, your friends are proud of you and stuff like that. But you just need to sustain it now and find your audience that sticks with you and likes you and like likes your post, likes what you say, and like shares it and stuff, because that's how you're to get more noticed. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you have like a favorite author or a favorite like kind of like someone that you kind of look up to? Because like during these times where you're kind of, I guess, growing through this space of, because I'm kind of feeling like I feel the same as you, like in terms of like not liking social media, and I really just mainly, like if you look on my Instagram, 99% of it's just my podcast stuff. Yeah. Or like clips from it that I think people might find funny or helpful. But like I feel like, yeah, you kind of do need that. Like I feel like, do you know any like, I guess like people that you look up to, whether it be like an author or a podcaster that just does social media super well, that you kind of think that you maybe like, not maybe want to model it after theirs, but like you kind of take inspiration from it? Like,
yeah, I really liked Sam Harris. Yeah. I don't know if you heard about him or not, but yeah, I like the way he posts. Like it was just pretty simple. Like, this is my podcast episode. Here's a picture of it. Here's a link below. And here's a good description. So it's like, that's the way I modeled mine after his, because like it's just simple to me. Like this is my podcast, this is my link. If you want to listen, it's right here. I'm not gonna like post 10 clips of my podcast. Like, here, listen. It's like, this is my episode. Here's a link to it. If you enjoy reading what I wrote about it, you can listen to it. If not, that's okay. Yeah. I think maybe in the new year I want to make more videos, like just short 60-second clips, once or twice a month, 3 times a month. It's just like, I have a thought that I want to say. It's like, during my breath meditation, just ask yourself in the morning, how do you feel? Set the tone for your day just by asking yourself, how do you feel today? And if you're not feeling happy, if you're not feeling at peace and calm, ask yourself why, and get to the root of that emotion, and then start your day. So now you're bringing your best self towards your day. Your happiness levels are up, your peacefulness levels, and you're calm. So like, that took 40 seconds. So I might turn that into a post now in a video format, because I'm more posting just pictures right now, quotes. So
I can clip that and send that to you if you want.
So I'll start doing more of those in the future, in the new year as well.
Yeah. But I like that, man. I like those. And the thing I like about those as well is if you can get those like either under a minute, or if you can get a 15 seconds, something that you could say quick. Yeah. Like, that's super shareable, I feel like, for people. So I think that that's a good idea. the other thing I was going to say is like once you start having people on your podcast, then it makes it easy because I like a lot of the time when I make my clips for social media, like I just like to have it as like whoever I'm with is talking, like it's not really me talking, or I'm just saying but like I like because it's kind of nice because I feel like, and I know like Zach is even, we've talked about this before, like sometimes I feel like people get tired of listening to like the way I present the idea. So like hearing it from a different guy or hearing it from a different person or hearing it in a different way, like said in a different way, or even a different point of view that I have, like it's something like fresh, a new perspective that I can offer, because I can offer my perspectives all day. But like having the opportunity to sit with someone else and be like, guys, listen to this person. Right? Like that's literally what I'm doing right now. Like, guys, listen to this fucking person. You know, like it's like it's kind of cool because, well, I'm like, I guess I just I think I like the idea that you're saying, like kind of be able to kind of make just clips exclusively. Like I think that is the way to go about it. I've tried, and even I had someone on here like a week and a half ago when we talked about TikTok, how we have to fucking get back on it, man. Because 60-minute videos, I feel like, or a 60-second video, like that's like really good for like a lot of the social media that's out there right now, man. But there's always those things that you're gonna have to do, like that come with anything. Like I feel like pick any like career in general, and there's always like the shit that stereotypical person wouldn't want to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Like a football player, like someone that dreams of being in the NFL, like they don't want to fucking go over plays in the back room or fucking diet or do like, you know, all these different things. Like they just want to play football. And like I feel like that's our version. Like, you know, like it's like you're like, I just want to write a book. For me, I'm like, I just want to talk. I don't want to do the other shit. I don't want to promote this. I don't want to, you know. So I feel like that's like our version of that. It's like you're gonna have to go on social media, dude.
And you have to do things that you don't like when you go after your purpose or whatever you want to call it. Like you're not gonna like every aspect of it. Like I love reading and writing, but I hated editing my videos, editing my audio. It took me like 6 months just to learn how to turn the microphone on. And like I had to literally take it back to the store and ask the guy, like, I don't know how to turn this on, and it was just simple as a switch and change the settings in Adobe. But yeah, back to my points, like those things, like I don't like doing them, but it comes with it. You just have to, like, if you want to be a football player, like you just want to catch the ball, but you also have to learn the plays. You have to diet well, eat well, you have to sleep good too. It's like you just can't catch a ball. You have to do all the other aspects revolving around that as well, even if you don't like it. Like I don't like editing, but I have to do it. It comes with what I'm trying to do in life. So it's like sometimes you just have to take it for what it is.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. What do you think, like, while you're writing your book, like, what do you think, because obviously you love writing, but, like, what did you have, like, any parts when you were writing this book that, like, challenged you a lot or frustrated you a lot? Any, like, writer's block or anything like that?
At the start I did, but early on I learned that, or what I wanted to do is, like, when I wrote something that was really good, I was extremely happy. But the next day, like, as any creative person, whether you're writing a book, making an album, podcast, whatever the case may be, you're not going to get great ideas every single day. So it's like the days that I didn't get great ideas, I wasn't happy. I was mad. I was frustrated. But eventually I was like, I can't keep living my life like this. Like that's like 3-4 years, and then I want to write books continuously. So it's like I'm going to be living half my life unhappy because the days that I don't get good ideas, I'm going to be mad and frustrated. So what I did was every morning I would just write for an hour. Whether I wrote 10 pages or whether I wrote nothing, I just sat there and I had to be in that space, in that creative space for an hour. And I just told myself that great things take time. If you don't have a good idea right now, don't ruin the rest of your day being unhappy. Like, just go with the flow, write 1 hour a day. That's it. And I just kept doing that every single morning. And eventually I had a book. But that's the way I wanted to do it. Like, if I wanted to sit myself in a room for 6 months, I would have wrote it. But I wanted to live by those experiences. So I just wanted to write for an hour. But every single day I wanted to live by these experiences. And throughout the day I would get ideas. I would get notes when I'm finding pleasure in my simple moments. Okay, how do we do that? Well, first I have to breathe. But I have to live through that experience first in order to write about it. So I had to do that job as well. So, but during that time at 7 p.m. when I was finding pleasure in my simple moments, I just wrote notes down. That's it. But the next morning I'd write about it, and I'd do that every single day, and eventually a book came out of it.
That's beautiful, man. Hold up, I'm gonna pause this right here because I do have to use the washroom.
Yeah, sure.
I said that in the very beginning, but hold up one sec. All right, sorry, we're back, people. I had to use the washroom, so I don't know if I'm gonna edit that out, but if I do or if I don't, I don't know. But we're gonna jump back into it. But you were just talking about something that I really like, so I want to touch on that before we wrap up, because that feeling of like not having material, not having new ideas, like, excuse me, I run into that all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like I run into that because like I'll kind of set expectations for myself, like, because I put out 2 episodes a week, right?
Yeah.
So that means that bare minimum I've got to record 2 episodes a week.
Yeah.
You know,
that's
for the most part. And I do sometimes have a couple extra that I like kind of have like just in my pocket, or like, but for the most part, if I have an idea that I really want to put out, or like an interview I put out pretty much right away,
yeah,
I try and line it up for the next Thursday.
Yeah.
But like I feel like that bind all the time where I'm like, fuck, like I have to keep putting out ideas, but I don't have any new ideas. And like I get so frustrated and I beat myself up all the time. And because like the way that I've kind of changed my life is probably like kind of similar to some of your journey, was I had to introduce a lot of like discipline in my life.
Yeah.
Right. And so because of that, now my subconscious, or maybe it is my conscious self, like kind of tells me like if I'm not winning, it's because I'm not disciplined enough.
Yeah.
So like sometimes I'll think, like I'll just like kind of, a lot of the time I just go in my journal and I write about problems that I'm either facing right now, or problems that some of my friends are facing, or I just try and think of advice I'd try and give to my younger self, and I'll fill like pages in my notebook of ideas.
Amazing. That's great.
Well, sometimes it is, but
yeah.
sometimes it's like 1 or 2 lines, and it's like bullet point, like 2 ideas.
Yeah.
And I'll think to myself like, fuck man, like how come I can't pump out a good idea right now? Like
yeah.
I'm usually pretty clever or kind of smart at least, or like at least comparable to my past self smart. But
yeah.
you know, like I think like that's so, I like the way you put it, of just like, you know, you would make yourself write every single day for an hour, and like sometimes you're gonna put out good ideas and sometimes it's
yeah.
just garbage that you scrap. Like maybe that's kind of the way I do it, because sometimes I just schedule like Saturdays I like to film a lot.
Yeah.
You know, evenings I like to film, so I'll try and schedule it, but then sometimes I'll block time in my calendar to like say like film an idea or film an episode this Saturday, and then I'll sit down and do it, and I'm like, I still don't know, like I thought within a week I'd be able to come up with what I wanted to film today,
yeah,
but I have nothing.
Yeah. So what I did is like when I, like even with that book example, an hour a day, the first point, like even if I wrote something that I knew I wasn't going to write in my book, I just wanted it out of my mind. Mm-hmm. So it's like, even if I wrote something on a Tuesday, I knew it wasn't going to be in my book, but it was just stuck in my mind. So I want to get that thought, that idea out of there, so a new idea, a new thought can grow in my mind.
It's like a used car law. Like,
yeah,
get rid of inventory. We need new shit.
We need new shit. Yeah, that's a perfect example. And then when I started my podcast, my blog, I knew I didn't want to put too much pressure on myself. And that's not a cop-out or easy way. I just knew it's like, if I rushed everything, if I said like, I want 5, I think it can.
Oh, no. Just another little battery notification. But
okay. Yeah, so if I wanted, like say if I wanted 5 podcasts a week, it's like I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself. And if I do that, I don't know how great my ideas are going to be. I might just start speaking about things that I don't even know about, but I just have to put out the episode because I said I'm going to come out with 5 a week. So what I did was like, I wanted one podcast a week, 1 blog a week. So 2 podcasts, 2 blogs. And at that point in my life right now, that's all I can do. And I'm giving my best ideas. So I recorded like 5, 6 in advance so I don't have to rush. And now what I do is just like, most of my podcasts, it takes me a month. Like, I know that sounds crazy if you're making 2 a week, but like, I get the idea. What I'll do is once I'm done, I'll just sit with myself and like, what do I want to talk about? And I sit with myself and ask, like, what do you want to talk about? What are you going through in life? Same thing what you're doing. You're journaling, you're writing it down. And I'll get the idea. It's like, okay, cool. Like, my latest one was, like that I just recorded was, how to be stronger than your mind, how to develop mental toughness. So it's like during that time that I was writing it down, writing the ideas, I would purposely do things to build my mental toughness. Things that I'm not already doing in the background, like I'll take a cold shower every morning for 14 days, and I would add 10 seconds every day. Why? Because like I want to be stronger than my mind. I want to conquer that inner voice, and those cold showers help me produce those ideas. So it's like I never want to put too much pressure on myself because I know great things take time. Mm-hmm. And if it's gonna take me, like one of my podcast episodes took me 2.5 months because I kept messing up recording it. But it's like if I put too much pressure on myself, it's not gonna come out the way that I want it. I'm not a perfectionist, but I just want my ideas and wisdom to be heard in a certain way. And if I just say like, okay, I have to write 10 blogs in the next 2 months, like they're not going to be really good blogs because I'm just forcing it. That's the thing, if you're an artist or if you're creative, like you can force yourself, like if you give a deadline, but like in my opinion, like you kind of want structure, but you kind of want to be lenient as well. You don't want to put too much pressure on yourself because like then you're just gonna get mad and you're gonna be unhappy. So it's like I know there's a line where we're like, yeah, be disciplined, write, read, make your podcast, but if you're not feeling it in that day, like some days I don't feel it. Like for 5-6 days I have nothing to think about for my podcast, but that one day I have ideas for like 6 or 7. Mm-hmm. And I would never get to that one day if I was just so down on myself. Like, you're not a podcaster, you're not having good ideas, people are not going to listen to you. I just go in for that hour in the morning routine. Now it's like I do podcast work. I just took out the books, I already wrote it, now I do my podcast. And if that hour I come up with nothing, I come up with nothing. But I just remind myself that great things take time, and you need to have faith over the things that you can't control. I can't control when I get a great idea. I could have 7 ideas in this moment right now. I can't control that. It's just whatever comes to me. It's like, oh, I resonate with that. I want to talk about it. Oh, and I did that stuff in my past, so I can talk about it. I went through that experience. But like, if you put too much pressure on yourself, and those days where I don't do good, like out of 7 days, if I have no ideas for the first 5, and I tell myself I'm worth this, I'm not a podcaster, I'm not this, I'm not that, the next 2 days I just wrote off. But if I just remind myself that, yeah, great things take time, and be faithful and keep living life presently, and you will get ideas. And ever since I started thinking with that perspective, my ideas just come. Because it's hard. Like, you don't know when you're going to get an idea. You could get 10 ideas tomorrow. You could get not any ideas in the next 2 months. You just never know. But if you're just present and you're conscious and you just keep going about it and set out time, you still have that discipline and structure where you set out time where it's like, I'm going to sit for an hour, whether I like it or not, whether I come up with 10 ideas, if I come up with 1 podcast, if I come up with nothing. But it goes back to that discipline, like at least sit with yourself for that hour. Schedule your time. If nothing comes from it, that's okay. Continue to live the rest of that day in the present moment with consciousness. You might get an idea while you're putting tiles in a bathroom. You don't know where it's going to come from. You might look at that tile in a different way. It's like, oh, I just thought about something, how it fits uniquely. Boom, there's your next podcast episode. But like, you would never get to that mind frame if you're just down on yourself. It's like, I'm not a podcaster, I can't do this. You're not going to get that idea. It's kind of like having, like what I talk about in my book, you need to have that blind faith over the things that you can't control. And you just have to accept that.
Yeah, I was about to say, actually, it's beautiful you ended with that, because it's kind of like, you know, like that, I was going to give myself the advice that I was giving earlier, which is like, you can't control that sometimes. Like, what I could control was, did I put in the effort to sit down and write ideas? Yes. Can I control the quality of my ideas that day? I mean, I can prep my best by like sleeping properly and having good conversation, but like, it's like you can't really control your ideas. But
yeah,
I think the nice thing like that helps me as well, like, because, you know, definitely like most people, I feel like putting out, unless you're a full-time podcaster, like 2 episodes a week is quite a bit. Like, it is pretty heavy workload, to be honest, sometimes.
Yeah.
But
most of those people, one of those episodes are like interviews. So like, you don't need to really be in that creative space, because
that's what I was gonna say.
You're just interviewing someone. No, it's like knocking off. It's an art in itself, but like, you just have to be in the present moment and have a conversation with somebody. You're not really coming up with the idea like how to sleep better, how to find your purpose, like how to deal with your mental health.
And it's natural for me too. Like, I'm in a space where like I'm not making any money off this. I'm paying to do it.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, like, it's like, this is I love doing this. Like, I was excited all day. I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I was like, I wonder what he's like. Like, 'cause I've never met. For those of you listening to this, like, I've never met you before.
Yeah.
Like, so I was like, dude, this is sick. Like, got someone coming over. We're gonna chill out.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna have a good conversation. Like, it's something I'm excited for. Like, it's not work for me that way. And like, you were kind of asking me, and like everyone that comes on this show asks me, like, yo, what's your structure? Like, do you have any questions lined up for me? And it's like, I mean, I got like ideas I want to pick your brain about, but for the most part, I don't know what questions I'm going to ask you. I don't know where the conversation is going to go. Like, I didn't have to prep for this.
Yeah.
Other than just
Came
make
natural.
Sure, like just make sure I was home from work on time. That was it.
Yeah.
Like, that was literally it. Just be showered, and I showered right before you got here. So, like, that's kind of the nice thing. I guess some of the other ways, like, and this is just kind of like, I guess, like, going off because you have a podcast as well, like, but some of the ways I get ideas are, you know, maybe in a way that a friend frustrates me. Like, if I see they're struggling in their life, and they might not even voice that they're struggling, I just like see them doing a cycle over and over again in their life where I'm like, I want to scream at you, but it's not really appropriate, so I'm just gonna write out my thoughts, and then I'm like, this is a good idea. You know, so I feel like that's a kind of for me at least, like, that's how I kind of get ideas, is either like struggles that I'm going through, advice I'd give to my friends, advice I'd give to my past self, or just kind of ideas. Like, sometimes maybe, like, you know, for instance, like, I listen to your podcast and I'm like, oh, I like the way that, you know, I like the way that he's going with this. Like, I kind of like that, but I think of it a little bit differently. Like, I'm going to try and put my spin on it. Like my buddy Zach, like, he did an episode about, you know, like, his first year podcaster, like, his, like, experiences. And I was like, you know, I could easily just put out, like, you know, what kind of, because I've done episodes where, like, and this was back on, like, the YouTube before the podcast, was like things I learned from working in sales, things I learned from working in construction, things I learned from working in a restaurant. So then I was like, I've been podcasting for 2 years now. I could put out an episode, like, things that I've learned just from being a podcaster. For the first couple of years, like, I pretty much just did get the idea, like, completely from him. But it's like, that doesn't mean that we're sharing the same value or the same content. Like, he's a lot more serious. I find, like, a lot of my episodes are just empty conversation, but I find that entertaining, so that's why I like it.
It's what you like, and it goes back to that point. It's like, I didn't have this mind frame when I first started. Like, I was like, just like you, if I didn't get an idea, I was pissed, I was angry, I was frustrated. And it took a toll on me. Like, even when I was writing my book, like, if I wrote something great, I was extremely happy. I lived that whole day, and I was in such a happy space. The next day, if I didn't match that work, which is extremely hard to do because sometimes you're not going to do it, it ruined my whole day. Like, I would go to dinner with my girlfriend, and I would be mad. I wouldn't be happy. I'm not mad at her. I'm just mad at myself that I didn't have a great...
Dude, I feel you, man. 100%.
Like, then I ask myself, how many times are you going to do that? Because your whole career eventually is going to be based on podcasting, blogging, and writing. So, like, there's 365 days out of the year. If you're only producing great ideas, half of them, which is a great number, 50%, what are you going to do?
If I was producing good ideas half the fucking time,
like,
shit.
What are you going to do the other 50%? Just live your life mad? And, like, other people are in the same headspace. I don't know if you know the singer Russ. He was on Jay Shetty's, and I was listening to him. I was like, wow, like, he thinks the same as me. Like, he would come up with a great song, like, in one day, and he's like, oh, I'm on it, I love it, I'm living life happily, I feel amazing. The next day, he said, like, I have so much anxiety and depression if I don't match that. But, like, it's out of his control if he could match it, because he doesn't know where that idea is going to come from. And neither do me and you, or neither do, like, artists, creative people, like, people that make clothes and albums. Like, you could only control so much. You could just put yourself in that situation, like, whether you, like, I like in the morning, no one's up, it's quiet, like, an hour, I'm going to work on my podcast.
I feel you.
And after that, like, if that idea doesn't come, I'm not going to ruin my day. I'm going to still live by my values. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be present. I'm going to find pleasure in my simple moments. I'm going to have faith over the things that I can't control. And then I was like, the point that I'm trying to make, I was the same. And then in one day, I got like 3 podcast ideas, 2 blogs, and like an idea for like another book. And in one day, and I was just like, wow, like, I was so worried about what I didn't do the first 4 days. But in one day, I produced over 4 or 5 months of work just by, like, in 20 minutes. So it's like, you need to have that optimistic mindset. Like, I can't worry about those things that I can't control. I'm just going to continue to live as who I am by my values, and the ideas will come. It's just the same as when you're going after your dreams. Like if you want to be a podcaster for the rest of your lives and like buy investments, there's only so much you can control.
Yeah.
The other stuff, you have to have faith over it. Whether you believe in the universe, God, energy, higher power, like it's a lot of the stuff is out of our control. Like I said with the example, like I can't control how many people read the book. You can't control like how many people listen to your podcast, or if you find 10 great real estate deals. Sometimes you just have to control what you can control, and that's about it. You have to have that blind faith. You have to be optimistic, because if you're not, like, you're just gonna live in a negative space, and it's gonna affect you in a negative way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, 100%. I love that, man. I love that you brought up Russ too, because like I look up to him a lot, because one thing that I really like about Russ is like he started so independent, man, and he like not just like writes his own songs in terms of like writing the lyrics, like he makes all his own beats, mixes everything himself. Like he literally is a one-man show for the most part. Yeah. So like that's how I think of myself, and like even yourself, like I think of myself as well, where it's like, you know, I wrote all these ideas. I was the one that filmed it. I don't have a producer filming or recording anything. Like, I'm doing this all in a little fucking corner of my apartment that, you know, I'm working to pay for rent. Like, you know, and I do all the editing. I do all the marketing. Like, literally no one's helping me with this other than, you know, like, maybe one or two people sharing it. But, like, that's it. You know, like, that's why I think all the time. I think of, like, Russ. I think of... because he's one of my best friend's favorite rappers. Yeah. So, like, he taught me a lot about Russ just from talking about him. And I'm like, dude, this guy is, like, another version of, like, what I could be. Yeah. You know? Like, it's, like, just a different avenue that he went down. But, like, this guy's just doing it by himself. And, like, I'm not tooting my own horn saying that I make the best fucking podcast ever. Yeah. I know I've got the low budget setup. I've got everything like that. But it gives me pride to know that, like, that's me. Yeah. You know, that's no one else. So
that's your path. That's your journey. And everybody has different paths and different journeys.
Bobby, I gotta say, it was a fucking pleasure having you here.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I don't know if you've listened to a full episode of mine before, but I will say this. I do my own intros. I don't do my own outros. I'm lazy, man. I only do half the work. So all I need you to do, you're going to do the outro for me. Yeah. There's nothing I'm not going to give you a script or anything, but all you got to do is tell people where they can find your book. Tell people where they can find you on social media. Yeah, but you just got to give them a positive message, something maybe motivating, something insightful, something positive, something just to uplift their spirits. But maybe wait till this loud ass plane passes by. But you can start with your plugs, and you kind of tell them one more time.
Sure. Well, those of you who don't know, this is my book, Living With Yourself. You could get it on Amazon, Indigo, and probably like over 15 Indigos if you want to get a hard copy yourself, or if you want to order it online. And you could get it at my website, bobbybasran.com. My Instagram channel, where I do most of my posting, is at bobbybasran, where you can see my podcast and blog. My podcast, 4 Pillars, is also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And I guess if I had to pick one message that you guys could live by, is just find something that you love doing. Do something that you love doing in this world. And if you can't figure it out for yourself, just sit by yourself and deal with your inner thoughts, and just ask yourself, what do you truly love in this lifetime? And just go after it. That's about it.
Beautiful, man. Did I get the first signed copy?
Did you get the first signed copy?
Yeah.
You got first out of top 20.
There we go, baby. I'm never getting rid of that. That's going to be worth millions one day, dude. Thank you so much. You're the best beard I've had on the podcast for sure.
Thank you.
I'm trying to catch up. Yeah. But there you have it, guys. Bobby Basran, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's a long trip from home. Thank you guys so much for listening to this or watching this. That's all we got. Thank you so much. Have a good morning or a good night or a good evening, afternoon, wherever the fuck you listen to this. But that's all we got. So thank you so much. Much love and peace out.
See you guys. Thank you.